Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is about discipline of counseling. So we will talk about what is counseling and what falls under the counseling. So here are the objectives. At the end of the lesson, the students should be able to identify the goals and scope of counseling, demonstrate comprehension of the principles of counseling, and discuss the core values of counseling. So now let's define what is counseling. So counseling involves the process wherein a client and the counselor set aside time to explore issues or difficulties that may be bothering the client. So this may include feelings that cause stress and confusion in the client. Counseling also involves the act of helping the client see things in a different perspective, enabling him to focus clearly on feelings, experiences, or behavior, and facilitate in him a positive change. And counseling also depicts a relationship of trust, confidentiality of the client's issues, and what takes place in the sessions is significant to the success of counseling. So this is explained to the client at the start of the counseling process. So, counseling falls under the umbrella term talking therapies. And of course, counseling allows people to discuss their problems in any difficult feeling they encounter. So, most of us experience this already kasi lahat tayo may kanya-kanyang problema na kahit tayo hindi natin alam kung paano ito masusolusyonan. Kaya anong ginagawa natin? We are talking with someone. Just like sa ating family, sa ating mga kaibigan, or even our relatives, or kung sino mang mga tao na feeling natin komportable tayo. But when problem arises naman, the thing na ginagawa natin is nagdi-discuss tayo in the confidential environment. So, kailangan may private area kayo kapag nakikipag-usap para yung ma-absorb talaga ng kausap mo yung problem mo, and then he or she will do a thing para matulungan kanya. So, the term counseling can mean different things to different people. But in general, it is a process that people seek when they want to change something in their lives. Anong halimbawa niyan? Your characteristic or your attitude. The way we think. So, kailangan may mga times din na baguhin natin kung ano yung way of thinking natin. No, hindi sa lahat ng panahon nasa tama tayo. Or it simply explore your thoughts and feelings in more depth. So in counseling, there are some formats that counselors applying with. Una dyan, face-to-face. So you have an appointment with counselor to see them in person. Magkaharapan kayo. Number 2, individual or group. So you can meet a counselor with your family, or you can join group counseling that have similar problems with you. So, kung isa lang naman kayo ng problema, pwede namang pagsabayin kayong lahat para isang session lang din. Number 3, telephone counseling. You are just talking over the phone instead of in person. So, nakikipag-usap ka lang, nakikipagtawagan ka sa counselor. Number 4, online counseling. You are just utilizing technology by emailing the counselor. So, yon, hindi ka nakikipag-usap sa gamit yung bunganga natin, but nakikipag-usap ka through texting, through chatting, or through emailing the counselor. So, what will be the expectation from counseling? Ano nga ba? So, first, anxious, because you don't know what will happen in the first section, kaya kabang-kaba ka, nawo-worry ka kung ano yung mangyayari sa'yo. And of course, information gathering. So, dyan napapasok ang questions ng counselor sa'yo, just like yung mga personal information, ano talaga yung problem na kinakaharap mo, and other personal background. So, yun yung ginagawa ng mga counselor. So, counseling is not giving advice. So, in some counselors, nagbibigay din naman ng advice, but the other counselors do not. So, what's the reason? It's either sisihin sila kasi yun yung sinunod na advice ni client, and what if na-fail? So, yun yung iniiwasan ng counselor. And another one is, it is not their job. So, their job is to motivate their client how to surpass their problem. So, what if nag-ask si client ng advice? So, what will you do as a counselor? Of course, ang gagawin mo, you will orient them on what will happen pwede magiging successful or failure yung mangyayari or yung magiging result. And of course, as a counselor, you should warn your client na walang sisihan in the end. Another one is judgmental. So, dapat you should put yourself on their situation, not on what you've seen to their appearance ay masasabi mong hindi niya malalampasan ang problema niya. So, wag ganun. Another one is sorting out clients' problems. So, if you are the counselor, you don't need to find a solution to your client's problem or to find an answer. Kasi dapat sila yung mismo nakakasolve ng kanilang problema at hindi ikaw na counselor. Kumbaga, back up ka lang sa likod nila. You should encourage, you should motivate your client. Another one is expecting a client to behave in a certain way. So, clients have different characteristics to deal. Hindi yan sila pare-pareho at yun ang dapat paghandaan. Not all our comfort will be applicable to one person. So, there are times na hindi yan nila magugustuhan kasi iba yung way na gusto nila. That's why counselors must prepare their techniques how to deal with their clients. Now, let's proceed to the goals of counseling. So, we have the change in behavior. So, it may include the client's feelings, thoughts, beliefs, or overall behavior towards issues that for the client are considered problematic. So, itong first goal na ito, for example, is the addiction of the person. The goal of counseling is to change the behavior. Paano mawala or mabawasan yung addiction ng isang tao sa isang bagay. So, makikita mo ang progress sa kanya in the end. Pag hindi siya nagbago or hindi nabawasan yung addiction niya, so, ibig sabihin, hindi na-achieve yung goal ng counselor. Ang counseling or masasabi mong hindi ka effective na counselor kasi walang may nagbago na behavior sa client mo. Another one is mental health. The primary goal of counseling is to do no harm. So, meaning, your process of counseling will not affect the way the person thinks. Pero paano? To help them rebuild their confidence, their self-esteem, and socialization to other people, and to restore his or her professional careers. Yun yung hindi niya maiisip yung problem na kinakaharap niya. Another one is we have also the problem solving. It include problem which involve the self-academic, social, or personal relationships, financial or occupational difficulties, or a combination of two or more of this. So, paano ang client mismo makakahanap ng way sa kinakaharap niya? What will be the accurate action to solve it all? And what will be the outcome after you step up to the next move? So, hindi ikaw magde-decide but your client. Let him find his door. Just encourage and guide the client. Another one is personal effectiveness. This happens gradually to a person when he is committed to positive changes in himself for the purpose of self-development. So, ito yung power of positive thinking. You use all the resources para makalabas kung anong meron sa client mo. So, example, the talent, the skills na pwedeng gamitin ng client mo for positive changes. So, mismo, yung gagamitin mo para sa kanya is yung mismong talent or skills niya. Magagamit niya yan sa kanyang sarili. And of course, to enable him to master his life and achieve both work and life goals. So, another one is decision making. So, it is not the counselor who decides for the client, but it is the client who decides for himself. So, the goal of counseling is to enable the individual to make decisions regarding alternative courses of action without outside influence. So, ang counseling will help individuals obtain information and of course, to clarify emotional concerns that may be interfere with or be related to the decisions involved. So, the individuals will acquire an understanding of their abilities and interests. They will come also to identify their emotions, their attitudes that could influence their choices in decisions. So, sa kanilang sarili din mismo mahahanap ang solusyon sa kanilang problema. And only the counselor will assist them in learning the entire decision-making process. So, let's proceed to the scope of counseling. So, we have the individual or personal needs and problem. So, all the struggles of your client must hear by the counselor kasi kasali siya sa job ng counselors. They have different personal problems, hindi lang isa, kundi maramihan yan. So, the counselor must prepare how to motivate the client to have positive thinking in the midst of its own storm. Another one, physical, emotional, social, moral, and marital problems. So, this includes the aspect of family problems in many ways na sometimes hindi na kayang i-handle ng client. And then, meron tayong career advancement. So, ito yung para sa mga estudyante, for student na nalilito kung ano yung tatahakin sa pag-aaral. Ano yung kukunin na course sa pag-aaral. So, future ang pag-uusapan naman dito. Another one is educational needs and problems. So, parang related din sila ng career advancement. So, the way the students struggle in academics. No, pwede yan pag-usapan sa educational needs or problems. Saang field siya nahihirapan at ano yung reason bakit hindi niya nako-cope up yung lesson. Or may peer problem ba siya? Or nakakaranas ba siya ng bullying? Or naka-experience siya ng bullying in school? So, pwedeng pag-usapan yan under educational needs or problem. So, we have also the vocational, occupational, and professional needs. Dito naman papag-uusapan how to find job. Ano yung pwedeng gawin para makapasok sa work na yan. So, syempre, ang concern dyan, bakit magpapa-counseling ang client dahil sa pera? Pera para sa pangailangan ng pamilya niya. That's why pumasok sa counseling kasi needs din yung pinag-uusapan. Another one, holistic individual development. So, this refers to integrated development of one's body, mind, heart, or emotion, spirit, and professional development. So, it is about personal growth. So, the purpose of client is to know his or her importance in his or her fields, and that client is capable of facing the demands and challenges of every life. So, under siya sa holistic individual development. So, this time we will talk about core values in counseling. So, we have number 1, the counselors are committed to the practice of hospitality by creating a safe and welcoming physical and emotional environment. They strive to make counseling offices warm and inviting with the entire counseling staff devoted to helping people feel at ease in such an environment. So, dapat feeling comfortable ang client mo dito na walang hesitation bakit siya magpa-counsel. And then number 2, we have the counselors are dedicated to protect the privacy and confidentiality of those who seek help. So, not to spread the client's problem. Kung ano yung napag-usapan at sino man ang nakarinig ay dapat hanggang doon lang. Huwag i-spread. And then, the counselors endeavor to establish partnerships of trust and respect among counselors, clients, and the community. So, once the counselor didn't take any move to the spread of his client's information, the trust will automatically occur. Both of client and counselor must establish rapport relationship where respect, trust, and willingness arise. Okay, next is we have number 4, the counselor are committed to the highest standard of excellence within the various disciplines and actively pursue continuing professional education. The counselor also recognizes the profound learning and growth gained from the clients whom they serve when they respect the uniqueness of each individual. So, the counselor must practice its profession. Talaga naman, if you are having that kind of profession, kailangang i-practice mo yan to the highest level. So, the way how to serve its client. Kasi, the way we engage with other people, the more we learn from them. And if ever na sa atin mangyari, we know how to handle situations. Kaya dapat, ibigay mo ang makakaya mo in that kind of situation. Ibigay mo or pagserbihan mo ng maayos ang client mo. And then lastly, we have the counselors believe that innovation and creativity are essential to the helping process and are open to change. So counselors work at development multiple sources of support that includes individuals, corporations, churches, and foundations. So counselors are not only for individual clients, but para kanino? but for corporations, churches, and foundations. Kasi lahat na nakakaranas ng difficulties in life. That's why we really need counselors, for they have the power on encouraging or in motivating para hindi malugmok ang isang organization. Kaya yon yung silbi ng mga counselors. So we have also the principles of counseling. Number 1 is the principle of acceptance. Principle of acceptance, or you have focus on admitting reality even it hurts people. Although you prefer yourself or other people, things or circumstances differ from how they are at present, have it in mind that there is no law of the universe which says they should or must differ. It may be hard, but learn to accept, for it is a great learning of what life offers. Number 2 is the principle of permissiveness. So, you allow freedom to your client to express his or her emotion. You allow him or her to talk. Your task as a counselor is to listen to all the things that he or she wants to talk with. Dapat good listener ka sa client mo. And then number 3, we have the principle of respect for the individual. So no matter what denomination, what status you have, always be down on earth, showing your respect to one's appearance inside and out. So we have also the principle of thinking with the individual. So sometimes we create judgment based on what we are thinking, but this principle reminds us that we must think accordingly and suited to avoid misunderstanding on the situation of every client. And then we have also the principle of learning. So learning from the experiences of clients and learning of clients by your encouragement. So both sides are learning. So experiences niya, and of course, syempre hindi lang naman yung client ang mag-share na experiences, but merong part din naman na ikaw rin mismo mag-share para yung client mo mismo makaka-learn from your experience, and ikaw na counselor makaka-learn ka din from the past experiences or the present experiences ng iyong client. So dalawa kayo ay nagle-learn. And then we have also the principle of consistency with ideals of democracy. So this is the acceptance of individual differences. What races you are, that you had, you must accept in a community, for we are living in democratic society. So respect and deal for the growth of all human beings. So that's for today's discussion. So I will give the activity. Anong sasagutan nyo dito? You just answer and read the instruction, the direction. So we have this activity and we have also the check-up exercise. So for more questions, just message me. Kung mayroon kayong mga clarification, just message me din. So thank you so much. So that's for today. See you in the next class. So God bless you all.